Do you ever find yourself saying yes when you really want to say no? If so, you're not alone. When asked for a favour, a request, or maybe an invitation, people have a tendency to say yes. If you say yes all the time, this might be at the expense of your well-being. It can be draining, and in some cases you might even feel that you're taken advantage of, which can in turn lead to resentment. Now, each time you say yes to something, you're essentially saying no to something else. So for example, if you say yes to helping out a friend to move house on the weekend, you might be saying no to your initial plans, which might have been to visit a relative or do some overdue housework. In other words, wanting to be helpful is wonderful, but it can come at a cost. People say yes rather than no for a variety of reasons. Sometimes it might be out of fear of losing a friendship or a relationship. Now, the reality is that this is not a good excuse. It's not a good reason. If you put things into perspective, you are not saying no to the person. It isn't the person that you are rejecting. It is the request that you are rejecting. So if that person knows you well enough and is really your friend, they should understand that. Sometimes you might just feel rude by saying no. Now, by nature, we generally aim to please, and there are times when saying no is difficult, but it isn't rude. There are times when saying no is just a better option, and it's important to do so. Now, maybe you might say yes because you feel that you're going to miss out. This is a what-if situation. So you decline an invitation to a party and then you say to yourself, what if? And what if you miss out on something? It could also be an invitation to say, invest in something, and that despite being tight on funds, you agree because you feel you might miss out. Of course, this is a possibility, but you shouldn't feel obliged to say yes. You have the choice to say no. And finally, maybe you say yes because you don't want to feel guilty. Now, that's all very good, but what is it exactly that you are feeling guilty about? Having to attend to other commitments or wanting to take time out for yourself is nothing to feel guilty about. Everyone has to set boundaries, and it is important that you do also. So what can you do about it? How can you learn to say no? Well, first of all, be clear. Make an informed choice whether you want to say yes or no, and be honest with yourself and stick to your decision. If need be, give a reason, but keep it simple. So for example, I'd love to help, but I've got other plans this weekend. Or that would be great, but I'm on a tight budget at the moment, maybe another time. But, and this is the third point, do not over-explain yourself or why you are saying no. There is simply no need for it. In fact, if you over-explain yourself, it will likely come across as if you're likely to make up a story to get out of saying yes. Giving a reason to say no in order to add context is very different, and it sounds very different to giving a reason as an excuse. Now, occasionally you might come across someone who is constantly asking too much of you. And in this case, clarity is obviously important. This is most definitely a situation where you do not want to over-explain yourself. If the person is taking advantage of your kindness, then you should resist the temptation to say yes. Simply say no, be firm, and keep your explanation as brief as possible. With this information in hand, reflect on occasions on which you have been asked for a favour or a request, or been invited to something. What was your response? How did you feel about saying yes or no? Now, reflecting on these events will help you become more aware of your typical way of responding. Now, remember once again that every time you say yes to something, you're essentially saying no to something else. And finally, remember that if you're used to saying yes, then learning to say no without feeling a little bit guilty is going to take some practice. But it is about looking after yourself and your well-being. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Are you the type of person who says yes too easily when you really would like to say no? Will you do something different as a result of watching this video? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, please subscribe, like and share this video with your friends. Thanks for watching and see you again soon.